Good morning, good noon, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's your Linda here again to bring you the new episode of Opera Wears. Well, I'm sick again. But anyway, this week was fun. I went to a podcasters gather that was co-hosted by Buzzsprout, which is the distributor I'm using right now, and the podcast movement. Every podcast there every podcaster there are very nice, although it's a little bit embarrassing to introduce people to my opera and classical music channel, which doesn't have much of an audience, but the people over there are so nice that it relaxed me quickly. And on Friday, I went to the Met Opera for the last performance of The Hours with my friend. So, long story short, The Hours is a 2022 opera in two acts with music by Kevin Puss and an English language libretto by Greg Pierce. It's based on Michael Cunningham's 1998 novel, and it is 2002 film adaptation, both sharing the same title. And this opera, co-commissioned by Met Opera and the Philadelphia Orchestra, which both are under our great music conductor Yannick Nazir-Sargent. Okay, I have to emphasize the grade is inside quotation mark. And the opera was first graced on stage on 18th of March 2022 in a concert presentation at the Kimmel Center in Philadelphia. And later, it made its official stage premiere on November 22nd, 2022 at the Metropolitan Opera House. The genesis of this opera is quite fascinating. The idea sparks during a conversation between soprano Renee Fleming and the composer Kevin Puss when they were working on his 2019 song cycle, The Brightness of Light. The novel The Hours was suggested by someone in Fleming's office, and it immediately resonated with both Renee Fleming and Puss. So Greg Pierce, known for his libretto work on 2016's opera Fellow Travelers, which I did introduce in my January episode about my Princeton travel, was bought on is it January or December? I forgot. Was brought on board to pen the libretto. Pierce was excited by the potential of the Met's ground stage and envisioning a production where the chorus and dancers are constantly present, underscoring the main character's emotional states. The concept adds a layer of depth, making the chorus integral to the storytelling, almost like the internal voices of the characters. The opera is constructed around a single day in the lives of three women. Clarissa Vaughan, a book editor in 1999 New York; Virginia Woolf, the novelist in 1923 Richmond, England; and Laura Brown, a housewife and a mother in 1949 Los Angeles. Each of these women is connected through their struggles with identity, societal expectations, and personal crisis, echoing the stream of consciousness style of Cunningham's novel. So Act 1 opens with the chorus singing fragments from Virginia Woolf's novel Miss Dalloway. Miss Dalloway said would buy the flowers herself. This line sets the stage for the intersecting lives of Clarissa, Virginia, and Laura. As they navigate their daily routines, each woman grapples with profound internal conflicts. Clarissa is preparing a party for her friend Richard, who is gravely ill with AIDS. Virginia struggles with her mental health of the constraint of her suburban life. And Laura contemplates the suffocating expectation of motherhood while baking a cake for her husband's birthday. And Act 2 intensifies the emotional journey. Laura contemplates suicide in a hotel room, including Virginia's own suicidal thoughts. And Clarissa finds Richard on the windowsill, and despite her efforts to save him, he takes his own life. And the act culminates in a trial where Laura, Clarissa, and Virginia realize they share their shared connections across time and space, and finding solace in their intertwined fates. One remarkable aspect of the hours is its ambitious orchestration. The scores calls for an intensive ensemble, including the unique instrument like alto saxophone and contrabassoon, which add rich texture to the music. The production is directed by Philip McDermott, featured set and costume design by Tom Fry, and choreography by Annie B. Parson, creating a visually stunning and emotional resonate experience. So in conclusion, The Hours stand out as a contemporary operatic masterpiece, and weaving together the lives of three women with grace and depth. It is testament to the power of opera to explore complex human emotions and connections. So before the opera starts, they mapped a clock on the curtain. I first thought that's just an motionless image, but it actually changes and reflects on the real time, which I think is cool and resonate with the name of the opera, The Hours. And because I do found this opera interesting, I would like to dig further into its musical aspect. Whenever Clarissa and Laura make their appearance, the music subtly shifts into kind of like a light jazz style. The choice likely reflects on the cultural trend of 20th century America, adding an air of familiarity and historical context to their scene. And however, when the opera dives into the character's personal struggle and inner trauma, the music style incorporates elements of minimalism. The blend of the light jazz and minimalism create a fascinating auditory experience, enriching the opera with a nuanced and dynamic musical landscape that mirrors the complexity of the characters' lives. But like many contemporary operas, I found the arias in the hours to be musically unappealing. Despite the opera's innovative blend of light jazz and minimalism, the arias themselves seem to lack the memorable melodic line that define the more traditional operatic repertoire, and they feel more like extended recitatives, focusing on advancing the narrative rather than providing moments of pure musical beauty. But as I said, that's a common stuff for contemporary operas. It's not only limited to this, but I would like to see more of what we call music in quotation mark in those contemporary operas. And the performance of this chorus was kind of unsatisfactory. And as I introduced before, this opera is a chorus heavy piece. Because the chorus in this, their voice lacked layers and their intonation was not consistent enough. Whilst they occupy most of the time on stage, this greatly reduced the enjoyment of the music. And nevertheless, they were integral in taking an important role in enriching the storyline and conveying the thoughts of the characters. I hope next time when they put the hours on stage back again, they could find a better course to enhance the overall music experience. And since this opera only has three leading female opera singers, or like three leading female characters, their performances are crucial. And Renee Fleming and Josie DiDonato are undoubtedly well-known names in the opera world, and Kelly O'Hara, as both an actor and singer, has also been highly successful. So I like to take some time to discuss their performance. The one opera singer that surprised me is Josie Donato. This is the second time I've seen her this season. The first time is for Dead Man Walking, which is also a contemporary opera and new production I like this season. My friend's comment on her after seeing this opera is that she is definitely the best out of everyone on stage, and I certainly agree with her. Di Donato is beyond reproach on the technical level and emotionally, which is inevitably why she's so famous. Aside from the fact that she's been picking up contemporary work lately, I think there's something to learn and appreciate about a lot of her recordings, both as audience or you're an opera singer, because you can actually learn a lot from those great singers, and her recordings is definitely a very good source of studying. And I wanted to put Renee Fleming and O'Hara together because they are actually more of the same. Fleming's singing skills aren't as good, and her throat often doesn't open up, leading to what sounds like a very shrill, uncomfortable voice. But her singing with a lot of emotions, so when she's performing non contemporary, her emotion makes up for it. But the hours is very different. And as I said earlier, this musical structure represents the fact that if there's a technical problem within a singer's way of dealing the music, is bound to be something that will be very obvious and something that the emotion that the singer convey can't make up for. Part of O'Hara's attributes as an actor also represent her maturity in terms of character understanding and emotion, but she's still a bit off on the technical side compared to Di Donato, so I put Fleming up there with her. I would say is very successful opera, not only because we have good opera singers, but also because the story and the level of staging in it. The staging was really creative, and one of the three main characters must have been on stage at every moment of the hours. When another character is introduced and articulated, everything looks perfect. The transaction is very smooth. And the story, even if you haven't seen the book, haven't read the book, or seen the film version, and even if you just read a little synopsis, you can fully understand what this opera is trying to say. The final scene of the trial is the climax of the opera, and where the three main characters are on stage together, and the theme is sublimated. And it tells the audience that no matter what, like you have to live, you have to be alive to face off the struggle and to overcome them. The last thing I would like to mention is the conductor, Kensho Watanabe. He's a student of Yannick, so I found that commonality in his conducting. Both like complex and fancy sounds, this also lead to some moments where the sound presented by the orchestra let down the presentation of the opera. As well, I have reason to wonder if the current performance of the chorus is not a part of his dereliction of duty, but all in all, as a very young conductor with a certain starting point, he has a future to look forward to. So, thank you so much for listening. And as always, if you have any question, comment, opinions on what I said, or just want to talk to me, please email aulinatin@gmail.com. It is AULINDATANG @gmail.com. See you in my next episode. Oh yeah, finally, this is EP number 20. We have 20 episodes. Oh my god. I never know that I can actually do like this much. But thank I would like to say a thank you for all of my audience. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, see you in my next episode. Well, why am I just like repeating myself? But anyway, bye.